And ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Yes, the intro is back, even though we're live now, but I figured out how to get it to work, and we are off and running. Episode number 12. God, I can't believe we're already 12 episodes into this show of the Shadow Cult podcast, and tonight, it's a first. We're talking about a different company that's not WWE or WCW. We are talking ECW HeatWave 2000. And of course, I'm Levi, joined by Scott and Walt, and we are back for a show that, as I told Scott before we started going on air, 2 words to describe this show: hot mess.
Yeah.
So,
very typical of
to
ECW at this time. Mm-hmm.
So, Scott, I figured, as always, we begin with you talking about where ECW was at this point, and if I may preface this, talk about a far cry from this time the year prior. Mm-hmm. Good Lord. But anyways, Scott, the floor is yours.
This is the final months of ECW. Would not be, 9 months more that the company would fold, and it would say goodbye. At this point, the TNN TV deal is happening. It's, as you were saying, Levi, it's a hot mess. The deal did not go particularly in ECW's favor. TNN was the Nashville network initially, which was country music-based network. They wanted to grow. They wanted to expand their audience, so it became the national network. And they thought something to maybe up their appeal on a wider basis would be professional wrestling.
Also NASCAR was on TNN for a few years in the late 90s as well.
Yep. And ECW comes on board, and they start doing Roller Jam and all that other stuff on there, the Friday Night Thrill Zone, as it was called. But, the story's been well told on the Rise and Fall of ECW DVD the WWE put out, that the deal was the shit, and which is, it's amazing DVD, but it was a shitty deal they had. They weren't getting what they should have gotten as a network, and it's reflecting in the product. Paul is kind of checked out. There it is. Classic. One of the best. Yep. Paul's kind of checked out creatively. He doesn't have much to contribute. Dreamer kind of took over and was more the guy running the shows, at least booking the shows and making the matches. And a company that had so much influence on the product in the mainstream with WWF and WCW was now, unfortunately, a shell of its former self. Still had a loyal fan base, though. Still fans were clamoring to see ECW. And, as you said, hot mess. This is kind of par for the course at that time. They had way too many wrestlers on the card, which is why you see the impromptu matches happening consistently on pay-per-views at this time. It's get 2 guys out there, and then 2 more guys show up. Now it becomes an impromptu tag match. That match ends. Another guy runs out to join the heels. Then another babyface comes out. Then those 2 guys have a match. It just goes on. And it just becomes chaos.
Especially in the last few years, that definitely happened a lot.
Oh yeah, so bad. And as we'll get into, there's so many aspects of ECW that we, myself and Walter, as the older wrestling fans here, got to experience that unfortunately the younger generation, like Levi, will never get to experience. And that really was a big factor of how great ECW was. They really fans.
But AEW is the closest thing to ECW that we have.
That's funny.
ECW was not run by a billionaire's kid. Let's just say that.
No, it was fly by the seat of your pants. Not a lot of money. You got to give everything you got. And this would become, as we're seeing in this show, there's a ton of moves. It was the advancement of wrestling. It was what inspired the wrestlers to come later on that would become the major stars of today. AJ Styles, CM Punk, Samoa Joe, and the list goes on and on and on. All got inspired by this era of professional wrestling.
John Moxley. I got to say the closest thing to what an ECW wrestler would be right now would be John Moxley.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm not saying AEW is like ECW. Okay, It's
'Cause it's
not the
not.
same thing at all. But the character that John Moxley, I could see John Moxley in ECW during
No
this
doubt
time.
about
it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, put him and Sandman in a program. Matches will be the shits, but the promos will be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or him
Hey,
and,
Red!
or him and
Hey,
RVD.
Red!
Hold on, John. I don't get what you're talking about. What are you supposed to do? You come out, you do what?
Name a country under the 37th legislative
What was
that's
the
run
number one
under.
truck? What was the number one truck series in America in 2007? This is your
Brilliant.
question. How do you know that?
Brilliant.
We haven't gone full into Sandman Raven. We may do it later on.
Yeah, and needless to say, when you guys tweeted that and I saw Raven like the tweets, I was like, holy shit.
Raven is very accessible on social media.
Yeah.
He is one of the few wrestlers that will respond to a lot of the tweets.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unlike WWE guys.
Yeah.
He's responded to Walt several times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Scott Levy, come on the show sometime, please. We could use some
Oh
publicity.
my god. Are you ready for a 4-hour show?
Oh, why not? We did a near 3-hour show a couple weeks ago.
That's true. Yeah, you always shit
A
yourself.
4-hour show, we'll barely get a word in.
Yeah,
Let's
none of
just
us
say
will
that.
get to talk.
That's true, but hey, it'd be funny. Plus, he'd be the first wrestler I'll have ever met from the mainstream side of wrestling. So that's something.
And remember,
to
anybody
behold.
out there that's watching right now on YouTube, please comment to us. Questions. You know, we love hearing from you guys. Please let us know.
Right. And we'll answer the questions when they come on after we're done talking about the show itself. So now moving on to the pay-per-view statistics. Now, when I went to look up the statistics for this on oswreview.com, unfortunately, no Livegate or pay-per-view buys were listed for this show. Hell, only 2 pay-per-views from 2000 had the buys total, Guilty as Charged and Living Dangerously. And this as well, this was the only show that did not have Livegate numbers known. The only statistic that is known about HeatWave 2000, it did 5,700 people, which was the biggest crowd they had that whole year. Compared to HeatWave 1999 in my neck of the woods in Ohio, in Dayton, buy rate, the pay-per-view buys was 99,000, which is crazy. 3,700 people, but no Livegate, no numbers. So, can't say anything about the pay-per-view buys or Livegate, but attendance was up by 2,000 people compared to 1999. So, hey, did good in attendance. Plus, they were in Los Angeles, which
whole different market.
background. Yeah.
Incidentally, shout out to James. We Are Pro Wrestling. He commented to us, "Wasn't this the pay-per-view Vince loaned $500,000 to Paul to run?" Yes, this is that show. This is that pay-per-view. So this is the one that where Vince did that promo on Raw, where it says, "If you look at the creditors of ECW, it says WWE." This is the one.
The more you know.
The more you know.
So, now that we got the number stats out of the way, how about the classic foo? Scott, take it away.
Alrighty, let's fire this up here. Now, typically we've been doing WWF and WCW pay-per-views. So on those, when I'm doing the statistics here, it gets very simplistic when it comes to the moves. I'm saying like 3 power bombs, 2 DDTs, a superplex, that kind of thing. Oh no, that's not the case here. There's a lot of moves. Okay, so bear with me on this one. First of all, we do have a fun fact to tell y'all about this show. HeatWave 2000. Well, it's not specifically about the pay-per-view, but more about the television show that ECW had. ECW started on the TNN network August 27th, 1999, which is 5 years to the day Shane Douglas threw down the NWA World title and proclaimed the ECW title the ECW World Championship. So, nice little piece of information there. Incidentally,
They can all kiss my ass.
That's right.
Yep.
Kiss my
ass.
What the hell is he doing?
I think he's shitting on the belt, Todd. I think he's pissing on the belt.
That's right. And you see Dennis Corluzzo like, huh? So there you have it. All right. Highlights from HeatWave 2000. We have, thanks to the WWE Network, bad overdubbed theme music.
ECW is the worst when it comes to that. The network overdubs, especially New Jack and Sandman. Terrible.
Unless you have VHS copies of the pay-per-views, because there's no DVD back then that you could copy yourself. Unless you have VHS copies, you're never going to hear the original music. And we're going to get into this later on about some other great stuff of ECW that, like Levi's generation of wrestling fans, really miss out on. Man, you really missed out on some stuff there. But back to the highlights. So bad overdub theme music, thanks to WWE Network. We have Jasmine St. Clair in a bikini. Not bad, not bad. We get Mikey Ripwreck gets buried in sand. Gets buried in sand. We have blood. A lot of blood on this show. We also get Crimson War paint. We get ref bumps, holy shit chants, lots of hate on TNN, green mist, one former jackal, the clap, one locker room clear out, one heel turn, one top removal, and one roll of toilet paper. It's there. Moves. Oh boy. Bear with me on this one. We have lots of chops, lots of dives, lots of low blows, moonsaults, one Ferris wheel, one bareback, one G-spot sweep, one Simon series, one dirt road slam, one Danaconda, one double superplex, one spinebuster, one wham bam thank you man, one Tiger Driver 91, aka Moneymaker, one Tower of London DDT on a chair, one super inverted DDT, one old school explosion, one fetish out of water, one cradle pile driver, one flapjack, one Nova series, one tidal wave, one whippersnapper, one kiss of death, one tarantula, one tree of woe baseball slide with a chair, one Sicilian slice, one brainbuster on a chair, one 3D, one pile driver off the apron through a table, one corkscrew guillotine leg drop on a chair, one Boston crab, aka claptrap, one steel chair skateboard attack, one rolling thunder, one clapper, one Van Daminator, one 5-star frog splash, one Van Terminator, one Tommy Hawk, and 3 That's Incredibles. Foo time. On the show, we have Commentator Foo, Juice Foo, Cowbell Foo, Stapler Foo, Innovative Foo, Four-Way Foo, Guardrail Foo, Singapore Cane Foo, 420 Foo, Ladder Foo, Barbed Wire Foo, and Valet Foo. And I guess interpromotional Foo.
More on that later on. So, with all the foo and the moves out of the way, let's talk about the show itself. So, 8 matches, well, before we get give or take, but before we even get any matches, we kick things off with Joey Styles, and I always forget the name of the other guy. Joel Gerder.
Well, actually, should we give him like a unique sexually innuentive?
He is the quintessential stud muffin. Joel, I come to your mother's home because she loves my penis. Gertner.
That sounds about right.
That's a very bad version of it, but yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
So.
I love when Joel was the guest ring announcer for the Dudleys. That was the best.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah.
Yep. And introducing first, who last night had relations with your mother. Weighing at a ripped 275. What was it? How was it going?
Trim, slim, ripped, cut, chiseled,
and shot.
That was it.
So yeah, we kick things off with Joel and Joey starting the show off before. Oh God, Cyrus.
Now Joel's a baby face now. He's not a baby. Yeah. He's not a heel commentator, which was another bad. Well, then again, we get Cyrus. So, but Joel is now a baby face.
Yep.
But yeah, we get Cyrus coming out, and what ensues is a worked shoot that's unlike any worked shoot I'd seen in that time period.
There was a lot of them at this time in ECW.
Yeah.
There was a lot of them.
Needless to say,
this was new too. This was not something you saw all the time. You know, there was still like the gray area back then that could be treaded whether something was a shoot or a work or not. So this was definitely one of those things.
Yeah, like they were ripping into each other with the mics before eventually Joel says, "I'm done. I'm done. And Cyrus being like, he told you he was gutless. And then Joel kicks the crap out of him only to get arrested. So that's how we kick the show off. Before we get into the first match of the night, which, oh my goodness, you want to talk about the greatest match of all time? We have Balls Mahoney versus Sally Graziano with Tony Mamaluke.
Yep.
And the greatest match of all time ends in only 2.5 minutes as Sally Graziano beat Balls Mahoney.
Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, this when I first saw this, I was very perplexed about it because unless Dreamer had plans to finally make Sal a regular in-ring competitor, because Sal hardly wrestled.
Yeah.
Hardly. He was normally just in the FBI's corner to do run-ins and shit, and hit like a big move or something like that. I was very thrown off by it. I was thinking like, okay, are they finally? Because there was also Sal was Scott Hall's opponent during his couple
in October.
Times.
In October,
yes.
Yeah.
So something was I was thinking something was going on with them trying to push Sal finally, but nothing ever came of it.
I want to say that Dreamer was trying to get as many guys on pay-per-view as possible in the ring to audition them to maybe go to another promotion. That would be my guess. At least if I was in that position, that's what I would be trying to do.
And kudos to Balls for putting him over. Kudos to Balls for putting him over and selling everything great.
Incidentally, right before that happens, we see an old buddy of me and Walt's in there, someone that Walter actually got to wrestle, Mike Bell.
Bell, yep.
Mike Bell, he's the guy that Saturn had the infamous match with on WWE television that many people want to talk about. But Mike Bell was a longtime wrestler, great guy. When Walt and I were working promotions in the Northeast, we were on a show with him. Walt got to have a match with him. He was a super cool dude. And he was trying to get in with ECW at the time. Really strong. He was trying to get in with ECW. He was a student of he was with Tony DeVito and his crew. He was part of that crew. He was he was lifelong friends with Tony DeVito and Jeff Leibold, another guy we know. Yep. They came from the they all got trained by Dr. D. Schultz and eventually Paul Roma. Yep. And all those guys, along with Nick Barbary and a couple other guys. Nick Barbary, that was the name. I couldn't remember. Ed Ramos, Nick Barbary, Sledge, JP Black, our good friend JP.
Yep. All from that crew. Eventually, Bobby Fish.
Bobby Fish came out of that crew. Diablo Santiago.
Oman Tortuga. Yep.
Magnus? Jamie?
Magnus, yes. Jamie was part of that group. Jamie was part of that group.
Anybody doesn't know what we're talking about. This is a Northeast crew of wrestlers that all were from the same area, the Poughkeepsie, north of New York City, in between area. And you saw these guys on WWE television a lot around that time.
Particularly Bell, DeVito with hair.
DeVito with hair,
Bell, DeVito, Barbary, Leibold a couple times. Those guys were all they were enhancement talent for the WWE in the mid-'90s, the new generation era. And that's where the whole crew came from. It's really interesting to see that this area of the Mid-Hudson area was a breeding ground for independent wrestling in the Northeast, and it's still got a lot of guys beating off it. Like I said, Bobby Fish is part of that crew.
And now we've been talking about this match longer than it actually went on. So
I know, really. This actually went on longer than the match itself. It's great.
Yeah. So moving on to the second match of the show, we get a 6-man tag team match. We get Simon Diamond, Johnny Swinger, and C.W. Anderson versus Kid Cash, Danny Doring, and Roadkill. Now, before we get into this match, can I mention, I need to quote Adam Blampier about this. Danny Doring looks like Owen Hart's frat boy brother.
Yeah.
So
the rumor was that when Doring was going through wrestling school, nobody thought he was going to get over, and people were going to chant boring all night long. So that is supposedly why he had the last name Doring, to make it sound like boring. I don't know if that was ever made true, but I remember hearing that years ago. So
remember JP did the tryout and they did the whole ring thing. And he's in the ring with Danny Doring, and all of a sudden Danny Doring starts like doing his amateur match shit and just tying JP up everywhere. And the next thing you know, he's in a double team spot with Roadkill. And JP's like, "Oh, Danny Doring will fuck you up. Danny Doring will fuck you up. Don't mistake Danny Doring at all."
Yeah,
and
Doring.
I'm in the ring. Danny Doring, Roadkill.
Yep. Yeah, Doring, man, his cardio was on point. He was trained by Taz and Perry Saturn, so he had to know what he was doing in the ring, regardless of what Doring became or whatever, and never really made it anywhere else. For that time, for that period, for that locker room, Doring was tailor-made for it. Could work with anybody.
Kill came from that Taz Academy too. I remember everybody telling me nobody thought Roadkill was ever gonna get through training.
The other thing about Roadkill, huge Guar fan.
Oh, big time.
Yep, huge
I wonder
Guar.
what happened to Roadkill. It's like not ever. I don't know. Oh.
Like
We may have to find it.
off the face
He's
of the earth.
not that old. He's not
No,
that
he's
old.
not.
He's
No.
a little older than me.
Yeah.
Early 40s, I would think.
Yeah, probably around my age.
Yeah.
But yeah, this 6-man tag was actually, thank God we had something good on this show to start off now with this match. This was a pretty fun 6-man tag, and at the time I felt was necessary when watching it for the first time. The interesting thing with Simon Diamond, I never knew he was in ECW. I only knew about him from his work in TNA as the manager for the Diamonds in the Rough and doing that famous base brawl segment with AJ Pierzynski and Dale Torborg in 2005.
That's right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And heard him talk in that TNA era, and he was a pretty good talker. And I was like, I never knew he actually was in ECW. And I watched this match. And yeah, he was competent. Certainly competent. Back then.
Simon was a early indie darling. Around 99, he was known as Lance Diamond back then. And for wrestling fans back then, 20 plus years ago, the top tournament a year was the Super 8 tournament in the ECWA promotion in Maryland. And I forgot the name of the guy who ran that promotion, but it was pretty well known. I'm sorry if it's blanking on me right now, but the Super 8 tournament was
Jim Kettner.
Jim Kettner. Thank you. I'm sorry. I forgot about that. Thank you. The Super 8 tournament was the tournament that everybody wanted to be involved in. And Lance won, I think, 1999's tournament. So he was like a can't-miss prospect. I don't know if he ever did anything with WWF, but eventually Paul brought him in, and he created the Simon Diamond character. Simon has a problem, that whole thing. And Simon was the next guy in line to get the Freak group behind him. If you notice, there was always somebody in ECW, a heel, that had a group of just misfits behind him. Raven had it first with the Flock. Just Incredible had it. And then Simon Diamond had it. He had the Musketeer.
Simon, he had the Musketeer. He had the Prodigy and the Prodigette.
Mitch, the ring announcer dude.
Yep.
Yep. And, and the Prodigette, too.
Yep.
She was in that crew. And I think, wasn't Bilvis Wesley in there, too? Yeah. So he had that crew too going too, which led him to have to get over to where he'd have the team with Swinger, and they became a very good tag team.
They did. They got to the finals of the tag tournament, which was eventually won by Tajiri and
Mikey.
Mikey. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, with this 6-man tag, and then of course knowing about Kid Cash and how good he was, this was interesting. I was shocked to see Roadkill actually do some flying in this match.
Did you notice?
Roadkill flies a lot in most matches.
Did you notice that the ropes did not bend, even when Roadkill stood on them?
Yeah, that's crazy.
How tight they were. That's how tight those ropes were.
You want to know what the ECW rings actually were? They were refurbished WWF rings.
Yes.
Yep.
And since our buddy Loke was on the ring crew, he told us that they would tighten those ropes absolutely as tight as possible. If you want to see something interesting, next time you watch a pay-per-view from this time frame, watch Jerry Lynn hit the ropes. He hits them so delicately because they're like hitting a wall. If you just watch that. I always thought that was interesting. But yeah, they don't bend.
And might I mention, whenever they slam into the mat so hard, it literally sounds like a bomb is going off.
Uh-huh.
Like, that is so cool. I don't know. To me, no rings will sound better than WCW's because I like how it sounds when they hit the mat. But this is a close second. I like that the bomb explosion whenever you hit the mat in ECW. That's awesome.
Sounds like the ring's going to break.
Yeah.
And we know about being in rings that break, don't we, Walt?
We do.
Way too often. Way too often.
Opening match.
But in the end, Kid Cash, Danny Doring, and Roadkill defeated Simon Diamond, Johnny Swinger, and C.W. Anderson in 11 minutes, 1 second. Now, I must also mention, throughout the night, we get some... really, in my opinion, the best thing about this whole show, aside from one match, some damn good promos. Some really good promos from Rhino, and especially Tommy Dreamer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, holy shit, that promo with Dreamer was fucking amazing. So
Dreamer was the best at the intense, dramatic promo.
Yep.
Definitely. With crying. You think Ric Flair cried a lot?
Yeah.
Dreamer during his entire ECW run was like big on crying. He loved crying.
Yes. It was emotion. It was all emotion. This is also the time that Dreamer and Francine are a couple, I believe.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're together. They were together when Beyond the Mat came out, and that was 99. So I think they're still as a couple at this point. So
I remember when Dreamer threatened to fucking kill a fan because he told the fan told Francine, show us your tits. No. This was during an autograph. This was during a meet and greet. All right, not during a show, not during a match. This is during a meet and greet. Fan in front of me goes, Francine, show us your tits. And Dreamer goes, why don't you mind your business? Why don't you show some respect for the fuck out of you? Yeah. And Dreamer apologized to me after that. He's like, he apologized to me and my wife. He's like, I'm really sorry. I don't like it when people talk, be disrespectful. I felt like I was disrespectful to you guys for acting that way. It was really nice of him, but he didn't have to apologize.
Dreamer's cool as hell. Dreamer's cool as hell.
He's tired a lot, but he's cool.
Yeah, he drinks a lot of coffee. Ooh.
He's very tired. He's
very nice not to burp in your face. You go, and then he talks to you.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. Whenever I feel a burp coming on, I go, like Jim Carrey and Bruce Almighty.
He's a gentleman about that.
Yeah.
But moving on to, thank God we're already here. Probably the best match of the whole show, in my opinion. Jerry Lynn versus Steve Corino, and wow,
Adam Cole's illegitimate father.
Speaking real quick,
I swear, man, Shawn Michaels and Corino banged the same rat, and out came Steve Corino.
And then it's Adam Cole's illegitimate father versus Kenny Omega's illegitimate father.
Say it, Levi. Say it. I know you want to say it.
I actually don't know.
The Caitlyn thing.
Oh. Hey guys, it's me, Caitlyn. I'm hanging out with my brother Seth and my daddy Jerry Lynn, and we all love death metal.
I don't get the reference, but that's cool.
Because she had the two-tone hair, kind of like Seth Rollins did, and with the name Caitlyn, Jerry Lynn.
Oh, okay.
And they're all metalheads, so it fits.
Yes, all right.
Levi did that a few weeks ago. That may have been the one you couldn't come on, Walt, but I remember that. Jerry Lynn, I figured again tonight.
Yeah. Thank New Legacy Inc. for that reference. I need to send that link of funniest moments from them, and it's on there. They're so fucked up. It's awesome. But anyways,
she liked The Simpsons. But I didn't know she was a metalhead. That's cool, I guess.
But regardless, so yeah, this match, holy shit, this was an awesome match to watch, and fucking the visual, Steve Corino's bleach blonde hair turning gushing red after getting color in this match from a tornado DDT on the floor. Mm-hmm. And
that was a trademark of Steve. He was big on that.
Yeah,
once he started bleeding, one night, it was like Paul saw dollar signs. You got to do that every night now.
Oh,
he was bleeding on house shows, for fuck's sake. Damn. Oof.
He had to have had
stars. At least 50 scars in his head after that was all over.
Yeah, it sounds like he probably had to get a whole lot of blood transplants after all those times, because, looking back at it with Carino, he kind of reminds me of Ric Flair in terms of bleeding. Because
exactly why.
Yeah, and the closest the closest of like the bleach blonde hair turning red that I could think of was 5 years later at Taboo Tuesday in the cage match with Flair and Triple H when Flair, with his hair, like, good lord. But
because that was, exactly, because that's what Flair did when he was champion, had the bleach blonde hair, and he'd bleed, it would just become pink and red, and Carino dyed his hair blonde. It was mostly Raven's idea for him to do that. He had the blonde hair and the black beard, because as Carino said, you have this homosexual attraction to Michael Hayes, so you made me look like this. His words, not mine. But that was mostly Raven.
Wow.
But yeah, once he started bleeding, man, it turned red. It automatically got him over with the crowd more than it ever did before.
Yeah. And Jerry Lynn, I mean, what more can I say about Jerry Lynn? The guy's a fucking legend. And these two beat the fuck out of each other, needless to say, and put on a hell of a match. As I said, in my opinion, best match of the whole show. And in the end, Jerry Lynn beats Steve Carino in 15 minutes, 23 seconds.
Interesting story about this match, too. When you bleed in a match, you cannot go much longer after you're bleeding. You lose a lot of energy, of course, because you're going to go delirious. Well, Steve loses so much blood. He is exhausted. And Jerry is blown up, too, when that match is over. When Jerry hits the cradle pile driver and falls on top of Steve, Jerry doesn't hook a leg, which is kind of what you did back then to signify the match was over. The story goes, Carino told the story, that they were both so tired. Jerry falls on top of Carino, and Jerry says, I'm too tired to hook your leg. And Carino says, I'm not kicking out. It was kind of like Rocky. It was kind of like Rocky. Don't want no rematch. Don't want one. They just couldn't go any further. So it was a mutual respect thing. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, and can't forget the classic moment of the match where Lynn literally takes his blood and crimson paints his face and writes "die" on his abdomen. That was pretty metal. That was pretty fucking awesome.
That's metal.
Yep. So moving from arguably the high point of the show to next up tag team match. Da Baldies, Tony DeVito and Angel versus Chris Chetty and Nova. And can I just comment real quick? How in the flying fuck does Nova go from Nova to Simon fucking Dean 4 years later?
Uh-huh.
And what's funny, I was at Monday Night Raw, Valentine's Day 2005, and he comes out doing his fucking shtick. And then Kane comes out and fucking scares him shitless.
Oh, man. This is back. Nova was the fat slob who was part of Raven's crew. And then he got the idea of getting in shape, obviously. And once he did that, he got out of the superhero stuff and started looking like a wrestler. And from ECW, he went to OVW, became a big hit there. He beat like John Cena his first night in OVW for the title. So instantly was on a top level. But also,
he's a health and nutrition expert. Well, he's according to him, he's an expert on everything, Mike.
All I can say is shut up, Mike. So, because Mike gets annoying. And what was the promotion his brother owned? Donnie B, his twin brother, had a promotion.
I think it was Jersey All Pro.
Was it not Jersey Championship Wrestling? That was it.
I'd ask him, but he's not my Facebook friend anymore. I think him and I had a dispute over the whole over something political.
Yeah,
I think he unfriended me, but whatever.
Because they're so smart. I remember Nova driving up to a house show in Middletown in a freaking Mitsubishi 3000. It was like, wow, is that how much money you make being a manager at Wendy's? Jesus Christ. But because that's what he was. Now, what was I going with this? Oh, before we had the tag match, New Jack comes out on crutches.
Oh, yeah.
And the Baldies attack New Jack. Now, this mentions something I want to mention earlier, how one of the big things that we, Walter and I, as the elder statesman here, really got to experience that the younger generation, I believe I won't, is getting to see a New Jack entrance live. Because, man, it is a rush. You have a match going on in the ring, and all of a sudden you hear Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, Natural Born Killers, kick in.
You're not going to hear that on the network.
No, never going to hear that. Everyone throws up the arms, doing this, and here comes New Jack with a garbage can full of weapons or a dumpster full of weapons. He just comes through. The music plays the whole time, and he just lays everybody out with one weapon after the other. He goes to the top rope, does the 187, the chair shot from the top, 1, 2, 3, and it's over. And then he leaves and the music stops. It's like a live action movie going right on in front of you. It is one of the best things ever of ECW. So,
but yeah, this tag match, thank God it was short, because oh good Lord. I mean, Nova did his damnedest in this match, but good God.
I always thought Chetty was kind of awkward in the ring.
Sloppy.
I don't know. Yeah, it just didn't seem like he could get his timing down. He had great ability, and he was a martial artist and Taz's cousin and all that stuff. But it just like always seemed like he was not perfectly on time, just sloppy. Yeah, like you said. And DeVito does a hell of a moonsault.
DeVito does a great moonsault. DeVito also does a very, not in this match, but DeVito also has a fucking great dropkick. He was doing that moonsault-ish drop kick way before all the other guys did it. Like over as soon as he plants, he kind of like moonsaults back.
Yep. Yeah.
DeVito is deceivingly. His athleticism is very deceiving. You look at the guy, does a lot of things you would not expect him to do.
We've heard horror stories about training under DeVito from JP Black and other friends of ours who have. And DeVito, he's like 5'9", 5'8.5", but he has this one eye that will just like bulge out of his head if he thinks you're like disrespecting him, and just like tear into you. He will get you in the ring. He will, because he was a hell of an amateur wrestler too.
Yep.
And he was a tough guy. He was one of the guys I was legit scared of in the locker room. So just like didn't want to piss DeVito off.
I always try to make sure I'm on Tony's good side.
Yeah.
And I always manage to stay on Tony's good side.
Yeah. DeVito actually invited me to go to his school one time, and I never got to do it. I really missed out and regretted I never got to do that.
Yeah. He said, Tony, just don't make him mad. Tony's actually a pretty good dude.
He's a real good guy. Real good guy.
But in the end, Chris Chetty and Nova defeat the Baldies in 5 minutes. Well, that's half of the showdown. Now on to the second half, and we kicked the second half off with a 4-way dance. You have Psychosis, Little Guido, Tajiri, and a last-second interjection of Mikey Whipwreck with the Sinister Minister, Jim Mitchell, who, by the way, big fan of James Mitchell, of his work in TNA.
Oh, yeah.
Like, good Lord, you want to talk about an underrated manager? He's one of them, I would argue, because he can talk, he was a good heel, and really got you to hate him. Especially in, like, his latter years in TNA in, like, 2007, 2008, when he was feuding with Abyss, and so on and so forth. Even though, yeah, you could argue TNA ripped off the Undertaker Kane storyline for Abyss and Judas Messias with the whole, I'm your father, Abyss, whatever the fuck. But it was still fun. It was still fun. I remembered watching that shit at the time, thinking it was pretty cool, but regardless, Jim Mitchell, I feel, is a very underrated manager and should get more credit, because, good Lord, the guy can talk and get get good heat.
If anybody can find it, I still have the DVD, but if you ever find the Ring of Honor interview with James Mitchell, get it. Because this guy's got stories upon stories upon stories. Some of the craziest, most perverted shit you'll ever hear in your life.
Sounds right up my alley.
His dual shoot interview with Raven was great too.
Right after.
I could only imagine. When did this interview happen?
Around when Canyon died.
It was right after his funeral.
Yep.
Right after Canyon's funeral, they did that promo, that interview.
So this would have been 2004.
No, it was after that.
It was after
Well,
that. Okay, so
yeah.
I would have to assume they talked about the scalping incident in TNA.
Not on that. Well, in the Ring of Honor interview they did with him, they did talk about that because that was like 2005. The Canyon one is 2008, 9, something like that, and that's an RF video interview. But yeah, it's literally they just left Canyon's funeral, went to Rob Feinstein's house, and did the interview in the basement while Mitchell's drinking chocolate wine and Raven's eating pizza.
Chocolate wine is good.
I remember you liked that. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, because of that interview, I actually went out and bought some, and it was actually quite nice. It's very good cold.
Yep. Yeah, it's like, you drink this on the rocks. That was his thing. All I have to say is monostat.
So this four-way match, so yeah, it was supposed to have been a three-way, but then Mikey Whipwreck gets interjected, and he only lasts, not even 2 minutes, and gets eliminated, and then it gets to the actual three-way dance with Psychosis, Guido, and Tajiri, and this was a fun four-way match, really fun, high-flying action. I believe Psychosis had just came back after being in WCW at this point, and then...
I think so.
And then, of course, seeing Guido eventually becoming Nunzio in WWE a couple of years later. God, it's so interesting to see him before my time seeing him as Nunzio when I was a little kid. Same with Tajiri back a year before coming to WWF. I see him in ECW, and he's kicking ass, taking names, and... This was a hell of a four-way, and it comes down to Guido and Tajiri, which was really interesting. And in the end, Tajiri wins in 9 minutes, 12 seconds, in what was a pretty good, fun four-way dance.
Yeah, Guido's another great guy that I got to meet with him and do business with him. Another really nice guy.
Yep.
Never got to meet Mikey. There you go.
I met Mikey. I met Mikey once.
Did you meet Mikey?
He was in a bad mood.
I think I did meet Mikey briefly at Ring of Honor when I did the ring.
Yeah, that's where I met him. He was in a bad mood. He was busy. Yeah. He was yelling at Amazing Red and the Maximos for something. And Rob asked me to get Mikey, and Mikey's like, "What?" Oh, fine. All right, I'll be there.
That sounds like Mikey. And Tajiri, never got to meet Tajiri, but I know he kayfabes English, so you have to be careful with him because he knows it, but he won't speak it. Yeah. The infamous story that Carino tells, him and Tajiri wrestled in Puerto Rico, and remember, this is Puerto Rico after ECW folded. Tajiri and Carino have already done a ton of business with each other. They're wrestling against each other in a tag match, and during the match, two guys are in the ring. Carino and Tajiri fall to the floor. Tajiri puts Carino in a headlock. And Carino's like, "What the? Get out of here." And he hears, "Oh, stay here. No one watching us." And Carino's like, "You cave-in motherfucker." He breaks out of the headlock and he's looking at Tajiri. He's like, "You speak English." Tajiri's like, No.
Stay here. Nobody's watching us.
Oh, God.
After all that time, Carino finally finds out that Tajiri speaks English. Yeah, he was great at kayfabe in that.
Good Lord.
We used to hear the rumor that Tajiri didn't speak English, but he spoke Spanish. So that's why the matches he had with Super Crazy were so good, because they could call it in Spanish to each other or whatever. Another rumor.
Weird.
So, but yeah.
And by the way, speaking with this match, when I looked at the info of it on the WWE Network, it listed Super Crazy in the match instead of Mikey. I'm like, what?
Whoops.
Typo there.
You ever notice Tajiri always looks tired?
Department?
Yes, he does.
He does.
Tajiri always looks tired. Like he needs to go to bed.
Needs a nap. Yep, he needs a nap.
So after that other high point of the show, now the show starts going downhill again and does not recover. Next up, the first of two championship matches of the night for the ECW World Television Championship. Champion Rhino versus the Sandman. And I must mention before this, we see a promo segment with Sandman and his wife Lori Fullington backstage. Before
Peaches.
Before Rhino comes in and fucks shit up.
Let me just say, Peaches getting the shit kicked out of her, or Lori Fullington, was not an uncommon thing there. She got her ass kicked all the time. She took more bumps than Sandman did. She was a trooper.
What I'll do is Peaches will come in. You beat the fuck out of her, and then after she what's the spot? Yeah. After she does the pile driver through the table, he comes in. I'll have the cane, and when he comes in, I'll cane him. And after I cane him, I'll put you in the hole there. You come around, and then we'll just take it home.
Oh man.
So what? The story we're trying to tell is who am I wrestling? Yeah, that guy. Yeah, Johnny. Yeah. So after we wrestle, at the match, we'll have the thing that I did in WCW with Scotty. We'll just do that thing. It was great. It got over.
But yeah,
What?
the only words to describe this match: guardrail mania. Oh, they loved bumping on the fucking guardrails so many times.
And Raven and ECW, a guardrail always seemed to find its way in the ring.
Always. Because nobody used them. Everybody used chairs. Everybody used tables. All right, we're taking the fucking guardrail.
It's like, I'll be the same man. I'll be the trooper to use the guardrail.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, this match did not go on long, and thank God it didn't, because the match was just there, in all honesty. Wasn't the worst match on the show, but...
No, but I mean, Raven and Sandman. With Sandman, you're usually not going to get a great match.
No,
it's all about
the entrance. Yeah,
right. Yeah,
that's another thing that younger generation really missed out. Getting to see that guy walk all around the building drinking beer to enter Sandman, with the whole crowd singing along.
Oh yeah.
Dude.
Then the bell rang.
Then the bell rang. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
That's why Sandman's tenure in WCW never worked out too well, or even the new ECW and WWE, because ECW did sort of get that entrance, but you got like a third rate,
but not the song. No.
Yeah. The one time, the one night stand pay-per-view live, you got Enter Sandman, but after that, it was never to be heard again.
Yeah.
So.
Right. But in the end, Rhino defeated Sandman to retain the World Television title in 8 minutes, 38 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And now...
Rhino's another cool guy. He's another really nice guy.
He seems like a really cool guy.
Rhino's awesome.
Plus, I've always been a big fan of Rhino, even back to his WWF run.
He's a quiet
Especially his TNA stuff, like early TNA run, like 2005 to 2007. Good Lord, he was awesome in TNA.
He was on fire. Great story. I remember hearing about Rhino, because Rhino's from that Toronto, Canada type crew with Edge, Christian, all those guys, because they ran with each other all the time. And Rhino would be in the back sometimes. And again, like I said, very quiet. When you do his promos, though, he's a totally different dude. And he had to go do some photos backstage in ECW show, and our buddy JP Black was there watching this, and like, excuse me, Rhino, we need you for the photos. Oh, okay, sure. He goes over there, takes the spray bottle, sprays his hair down, puts it down in front of his face. You ready, sir? Oh yeah, I'm ready. Whenever you're ready. Okay. And the camera guy just went. Click, 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 click,
click, click, click.
Because you just turn it on just like that. So, but yeah, Terry's a great guy. Running for office again in his hometown in Michigan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe he'll win this time and fall in the footsteps of good old Glenn Jacobs. But moving on to the next match, the penultimate match of HeatWave 2000. One-on-one match, Scotty Anton, better known as Scotty Riggs, versus Rob Van Dam.
Uh-huh.
Now, I have a bone to pick with this match.
Biggest match of Scotty Riggs' career, no joke.
You know it.
Yeah.
You know
it. Here's the bone I gotta pick with this match. Why the fuck?
Scotty Anton is what he's going by.
Yeah, Scotty Anton, yeah.
But the bone I have to pick with this match, Why in the flying fuck did it have to go 19 minutes? Cut it in half and it would have been a better match. Wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. They both did a solid job, but it did not need to go 19 minutes.
It was a grudge match with the ECW fans. Here was the funny thing. With these smart fans, all right? And this is where ECW fans are huge hypocrites. I'm about to go on a mild rant right now because this match really isn't worth discussing in detail. The ECW fans were probably the biggest. They taught me about internet wrestling fan hypocrisy, okay? You had these, as many know, the ECW fans are very rabid, okay, very critical, and they will shit all over anything they don't like. All right? Case in point. But here's the funny thing: they'll give back when he was Lance Diamond and had an ECW tryout, or back when he was Devin Storm had an ECW tryout, along with several other wrestlers, even Chris Candido. They would shit all over those guys, and we know how well those guys are in the ring. Meanwhile, they're popping for a fucking 7-foot guy who just did a choke slam.
Wow.
Scotty Riggs. When I found out Scotty Riggs caught a lot of shit or was coming to ECW, I was thinking he was going to be one of those guys because,
American males.
Yeah, and the WCW mainstream product. The ECW fans all popped for him when he showed up. At that one time.
Because he was Rob Van Dam's buddy.
Yeah.
And anybody was going to be instantly over getting the rub from Rob and ECW at that time.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, we always liked Scotty Riggs. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
Right.
You did not care about Scotty Riggs. He was a low-card guy on WCW Saturday Night. He got into Raven's flock, was a low member of that group too, and all of a sudden he's in ECW and he's Rob Van Dam's buddy. Then all of a sudden they like him. Whatever.
Learn the business. Actually, I read this about Scotty Riggs. He learned the business in a pretty unique way. He was trained by a guy named Nightmare Ted Allen down in Georgia. The way Ted Allen trained his students, the classes were live shows. He would actually have, instead of like a regular like private classes, he'd invite fans in and they would do live shows, and these people would learn as they go. Mm-hmm. And that's how Scotty Riggs was trained, which is actually a very unique way of getting in there. And
Ted Allen actually also trained Boss Man.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, Georgia. So there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But yeah, the thing that was hyped up for this match was the Van Terminator. No one had seen it before, and our RVD's like, you're going to get it. And basically, we get the birth of the awesome Van Terminator spot that
just a few months later, Shane McMahon would invent it.
Yeah, I was going to say, and RVD and Shane McMahon would use it over and over again for years to come. Granted, Van Terminator versus Coast to Coast, but you know what? Now that I think about it, it's kind of a shame we never got a Shane McMahon Rob Van Dam match.
I always wonder if that was ever going to come to. It would have been pretty good. I
think that would have been an awesome match for sure.
Yeah, Shane was a huge ECW fan. The story's out there that Shane almost bought ECW
in 2001.
Right. So there was possibility there. Shane always liked the product, liked Rob Van Dam's work, obviously, because he took the move. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it definitely would have been a great match to see. And yeah, this match goes way too long. I was finding myself fast forwarding through this match because it just goes on and
Same
on.
Here.
But it doesn't need to. Yeah, it doesn't need to. If you shut down like 5 minutes or so, much better. But it was all about the Van Terminator, trying to build to that. That's what the promo that Rob did with Alfonso before the match was all about. And you're gonna find out the Van Terminator, blah blah blah. So, and everybody bought into it. That was a big sell for the fans at that time. Like, oh, what's Rob Van Dam going to do next? So it worked. It got over.
And now we move on to the main event of the night, the Stairway to Hell match for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. We get Justin Incredible with Francine defending against Tommy Dreamer with Jazz and George. But before the match even starts, we get probably the most famous for the wrong reasons moment of the show, the XPW invasion.
Right.
Scott, give us the backstory behind that.
All right. If you watch the match, you see Justin and Tommy come face to face. They're talking to each other. And Huh? Oh, he's be right back. Okay. Yep. So you see that they're talking to each other, and you see something's up, and you see Tommy's looking at Justin. Then all of a sudden his eyes go this way because he saw something happen to Francine, and Tommy heads for the ring. He heads out of the ring, and he gets in those guys' faces. And here comes the locker room. And I remember seeing that with me and my friends, like, whoa, 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 what the fuck is this? What is this a work? Is this what's going on? And a crew of guys from XPW, Extreme Pro Wrestling, run by Rob Black, who was a porn producer, bought tickets to the show, sat near the front row, and thought it was a good idea to try to get themselves over. Supposedly somebody grabbed at Francine. Don't think that's ever been actually confirmed, but that's supposedly what the situation was that led Tommy to jump the ring, because as Walt was saying, you know, Tommy was protective of Francine because they were a couple. So he heads out of the ring. He starts having words, and they start going at Tommy. Here comes the locker room, and here comes Ratless Security, and they jump the guardrail. They grab these guys, get them out of the building. Supposedly, a fight happened in the parking lot between some of the ECW guys and XPW guys. Don't know if ever that's been confirmed too. Could be more internet rumor, but this was a publicity stunt for XPW to try to get over. And the funny, ironic thing is that after ECW folded, several ECW guys would go work for XPW on some occasions. Shane Douglas, New Jack. It's the show where, what's that?
Cronus.
Yep. It's the promotion where New Jack and Vic Grimes had that incredible, scaffold match where Jack had the taser. And if you saw New Jack's Dark Side of the Ring, that's the promotion that happened at, where Vic goes falling off the scaffold, hits the top rope, bounces off it, almost dies. That was the promotion where it happened. So
interesting postscript that you mentioned Rob Black, right?
Yes, sir.
This thing? Okay.
Yes, sir.
My daughter was doing like makeup effects and working on a low budget horror film, correct? Back in up home. The guy directing that horror film is Rob Black's cousin.
Wow.
Rob Black and his wife live in a street home in Western New York, and they are born again now.
They're born again now?
They are born.
Wow.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. You're still a porn head. You fucking loser. But yeah. So yeah.
After that debacle, then we get the match itself. I
don't think it was that bad.
I don't think it was that bad either.
It wasn't. I've seen worse matches. Hell, most matches on this show was worse than this. But oh man. So you're telling me that this Stairway to Hell match? At first, I thought it was just essentially a ladder match to grab the damn barbed wire that was hanging. But no, you had pinfalls. It's like the rules of this match were so fucking convoluted and ridiculous, I couldn't keep track. And I'm just like, are you trying to scramble my brain here? Like, what the fuck is this?
It was just climb the ladder, get the barbed wire, can use it. That's it.
It's like you might as well have made a barbed wire on a pole match. And no, Vince Russo, do not book it for anything else, please.
If they had a pole, they probably would have done that. But ladders were more the thing that Dreamer and Justin were known for. So that's why they had to do it. And you remember now, it was just 2 or 3 months prior to this where the infamous match happened with Mike Awesome as a WCW contracted wrestler defend the ECW title against Taz, a WWF contracted wrestler. And Taz beat him, won the title. And then shortly after that, after Taz wrestled with the ECW title on SmackDown and jobbed to Triple H and all that garbage we know.
Yeah.
They had the match with Tommy Dreamer and Taz at the ECW arena. Dreamer beat Taz. The match that was never shown on television back then, by the way, because they couldn't show a WWF contracted guy losing to an ECW guy on television. Yeah. But Tommy won the title from Taz. He does the big thank you crying promo. The guys come out to celebrate. Here comes Justin and challenges Tommy right there. They have the match, and Justin wins the title right there. So As Tommy said, he hated winning the title. He didn't.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, whenever if anybody gets a chance to watch this amazing DVD, yeah, Dreamer talks about it. Like, he wanted to go his whole career in ECW, never win the world title. And the way he described it is true. The only reason he got belts is because guys left. And people would have thought, man, Dreamer should be happy he finally got the big one that he long worked on for years. But he's like, but the night I won the title, I was actually pissed off.
Yeah.
Which is, whoa.
Now, also, you have to remember, these guys, Dreamer, Sandman, Raven, they're students of Paul Heyman, who is a student of Kevin Sullivan, who is a student of Dusty Rhodes, who is a student of Eddie Graham. And it comes from a very old school style of thinking, booking, wrestling. And there would be arguments in the locker room between Dreamer, Sandman, the Dudleys, about who wanted to win, because nobody wanted to win. Everybody wanted to lose, because they all knew whoever lost was going to be more over the next time they came back. So it was that was the mentality. That was the smart way of thinking. Nowadays, all guys want to do is win, because they think that makes them a star. No, losing is what helps make you a star.
If booked right, of course.
If booked right, yeah.
Yeah, you've booked a match with Dreamer. You know what the ordeal is with him.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like, you want to see, he will lay down for people when it's, no matter what. He'll do it if it's right for business. He'll do it, no questions asked. I have to say that in my years booking wrestling, anytime I got to work with an ECW guy, it was a night off. They were always professional, no ego, no pride, no problems of any kind. Former WWF guys maybe had a little bit of an issue, maybe, but ECW guys, Shane Douglas, Tommy Dreamer, Lance Guido, who else is Sabu, various other guys that.
We can even say HC Loke, because he is part of that group.
Yeah, never a problem with any of those guys at all. No ego, no
Stevie
big
Richards.
Stevie Richards. Yep. Yeah, no egos, no like, I can't do that. My character would never do that bullshit. Never. Anything like that. So that was the mentality of ECW. It's an all-for-one mentality. If I get over, you get over. If you get over, I get over. Doesn't matter who wins or loses.
Yep.
As long as we get over, the match gets over. Our match gets over, the other match gets over. All the matches get over, the show gets over. And if all the shows get over, the company gets over.
Dreamer put our top heel over, no questions asked, clean. It was actually his idea entirely.
It was his idea. He had to do that. So, yeah, he had no problem doing it at all. Yep.
So, yeah, and then also during this match, we get the heel turn of George.
George.
Yeah, But in the end, Just Incredible retains in 12 minutes, 20 seconds, beating Tommy Dreamer. So kudos to Tommy. Now that I understand the mentality of the wrestlers, glad to see he decided not to book himself to be champion, and so on and so forth. So that's actually pretty cool.
He's going to do, it's like, again, it's not about the winning or losing. It's about making your opponent look good. He's going to do absolutely everything he can to make Justin look like a viable, threatening heel. So when he loses, the next babyface that comes along to challenge Justin, the people are more behind that babyface because they know how dangerous Justin is as a heel. He beat fucking Dreamer in the middle of the ring. So if he could beat Dreamer, oh man, you got to be something really big. And then when that babyface beat Justin, which was, I believe, Jerry Lynn for the title, it makes Jerry even bigger. So
I thought it was a decent match. Actually, I think it was a better Stairway to Hell match.
But it was good. It was really good. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I think it was a better Stairway to Hell match than Sabu versus Sandman.
It had the typical Raven style dog and pony show, smoke and mirrors. You had the girls get involved. You had the ladder. You had, the heel turn. You had all those little false finishes up there leading up to, you hits the Tommy Hawk. You think that's going to be a finish, kicks out. Then he hits one, that's incredible. Tommy kicks out again. Hits the second, that's incredible on Tommy. That pins him. So, yeah. This is before you had to hit 5,000 finishes, Omega Okada, to beat a guy. So,
yeah. And I know I'm going to probably get a lot of hate for it, but I don't care. I'm just going to say it. Okada and Omega matches are overrated as fuck. You don't need to have Finisher Fest to have a good match. Tell a story, you fuckers.
It's Japanese.
Not that those matches are bad or anything, great matches, but for the love of God.
I know a few people that can come in and bit by bit dissect that match and defend it to you.
We do too.
Dave Meltzer and his
Paul.
disciples.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah,
God,
it's
guys.
if you have the Japanese wrestling is different than American wrestling, folks. That's the way it is. I'm not picking on anybody here. I'm just saying anybody listening out there that ever does listen to this, make sure you're going to realize Japanese wrestling mentality, American wrestling mentality, two different things.
It's a different psychology, and
National sport in America is baseball. National sport in Japan is judo.
Yeah.
What do you think is more important to them? It's athleticism, it's spirit, it's bushido, that kind of stuff.
It's actually the psychology of Japan's even more different than what it was 25 years ago. I mean, Okada and Omega is a different beast than Misawa and Kawada.
Right. Yep.
But anyway, so that does it for Heatwave 2000. Overall, yeah, this is kind of, like I said, a hot mess. Not the worst pay-per-view ever, but
not their best.
Not that great either. It's more average to run-of-the-mill, I would say. Because there were some good matches on here, but you had quite a few matches, to say the very least. Not to mention with all the defections you had going back a year with Taz and the Dudleys, you saw that they were lacking in top-name guys at this point. Like, I think the only top-name guys you really had at this point were RVD, Sandman, Rhino, and Just Incredible.
And they were straightforward ECW guys right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dreamer.
I mean, they were
And Dreamer.
I mean,
How could I forget?
Yeah.
I think Lance Storm was gone by this point. So.
Yeah, I think he was already to WCW by this point.
He was.
Yeah, at this point, they're trying to build stars. They're trying to elevate Jerry Lynn. They're trying to elevate Steve Corino. They're trying to elevate Balls in some cases, because Balls was a huge baby face. And if you beat him, you get sympathy on him. Remember what I said earlier about who wants to lose, who wants to win? You didn't mind putting Sal over. Sal's 600 pounds. Of course, he's going to go over. So they're trying to groom and create new stars. But the clock was ticking for ECW at this point. They didn't have a lot of time left. Their TV deal would have been done in about 4 or 5 months. 4 months probably. It was October was their last show, broadcast on the network. And they'd be done March of 2001. So...
Yep. So now on to best match and worst match, and for me this is easy. Best match goes to Jerry Lynn versus Steve Corino. I really, really like that match. Worst match, Sally Graziano and Balls Mahoney.
I'm going to agree with that on both ends, I think. Yeah. I mean, I liked Justin Tommy. I think the Riot thing with XPW kind of took away from the overall feel of it. Because it created a buzz in the audience where they were just kind of like paying attention to that. There's even one spot in the match where the whole crowd is like not even looking at the ring after they've already started the match. They're watching something in the crowd. So it kind of that if that hadn't happened, maybe it would have been a little bit more over with the crowd. But that was definitely something. You got to see Francine's ass too, which was always nice back then. And
I like Francine now.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the
I still think she
topless
looks
spot
pretty
with Francine, but her nipples were covered in red X's.
Yeah, that was the one top pull.
That was like a lot of fans were fucking mean to Francine.
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
they were calling her horse face and shit like that. It was
Crack
fucking
whore.
assholes.
Yeah,
crack whore. Yeah.
Fucking fans back then, and didn't care.
To me,
asshole.
there will be no better example of the human horse face than NASCAR driver Brad Keselowski. Good Lord. You see him laugh and smile, he looks like a fucking horse face.
Yeah.
Who's the Japanese Yoshihiro Takayama?
Takayama. Yes.
He's got a horse face.
Yes. But we love him though. He's going through a lot of health issues and
he is.
They're still doing the Fire Pro DLC fundraiser for him, and actually it's made quite a bit of money. Yeah, they made his character a DLC. For Fire Pro Wrestling World, and the proceeds went to him for his medical expenses. He had a stroke.
Wow.
He's wheelchair.
Yeah.
He's paralyzed from the neck down.
Oh,
He had something really bad happen to him. When it was such a success, they released a second DLC of Takayama, a Team No Fear version of it, I believe it was, to further raise funds. So
very cool.
He's a horse face, but he was a tough son of a bitch, and we wish him well.
But anyways, now that we're done talking about the show, let's get to the fun part, the questions from you guys. So already I see Russell and Jen Reeves. What's up? Asking,
what's up, Russell?
Asking whatever happened to the Kiss Demon from WCW. Oh, Dale Torborg? Yeah, let's say he went on to baseball and actually helped out the Chicago White Sox win the World Series in 2005. I alluded to that earlier when talking about Simon Diamond because of that base brawl incident segment in late 2005. And shockingly enough, that led to a fucking match at the Turning Point pay-per-view that year. I'm trying to remember. It was the Diamonds in the Rough, Simon Diamond, Elix Skipper, and David Young against Sanjay Dutt, Chris Sabin, and Dale Torborg with AJ Przinsky in their corner. I remember this now. So yeah, that's what happened to the Kiss Demon. Dale Torborg went on to have a successful career in baseball.
I remember my first thing about Dale Torborg. Dale Torborg was part of the WCW race team. Remember that? WCW had their own NASCAR.
Yep.
I think it was NASCAR.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I don't think it would have been a NASCAR team. I think they would have gotten a sponsor driver.
It was those speed car deals. They just go fast.
Drag racing.
That's
NHRA drag racing. Yeah.
And WCW had their own car, and Dale Torborg and another power plant trainee were the WCW race team. But I remember seeing Dale Torborg on one of those exposés. It was an A&E biography on wrestling, the A&E documentary. And when they went inside the power plant and they interviewed Dale, and he's like, "This is the hardest thing I ever done. I came from baseball, and my buddies, blah blah blah. And I had no idea that was going to be this demon or the guy partially responsible for helping the White Sox win the World Series,
right?
Yeah.
Breaking the Black Sox."
Yeah. And it's still funny, like, when I was on vacation last month in Tennessee, I was bored one night and decided to watch the 50 Greatest Moments TNA did, because I had it bought on PS3 and it saved to my PS4 somehow. And I watched that segment where Simon Diamond is just trying to rip an AJ Przinsky, like, you had a 256 batting average. That's 1 out of 4. These guys are 100%. If I was 1 out of 4, I'd fire myself. I don't hit 256, I hit home run. Slaps Torborg in the face, and then the brawl begins.
Which is funny, because 256 is actually better. That's better.
Really
that's
good.
actually a pretty decent. That's actually
Batting
pretty
average,
decent,
yeah.
That's what I think about baseball. If you hit 1 out of 4 balls, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
Russell mentioned he was trying to think of bad characters in wrestling. He mentioned Tank Abbott. He mentioned 3 Count.
And the
Tank
Wall.
Abbott. Oh, come on.
Tank
They were
Abbott,
national
well, hang
champions.
on. Tank Abbott, yeah, in pro wrestling, not that great, but yeah, he didn't have a very good MMA record, but he was a memorable MMA UFC fighter. Like, I remember he could punch.
He was out of nowhere. He made it to the finals. He was like a guy that nobody knew of, and he was came up like a straight barroom brawler. And here he is, fucking knocking guys out. He gets to who was it? It was the first one he was ever in. He was Oleg Taktarov. Taktarov beat him because Taktarov was a sambo expert.
He was a legend.
Yeah, but here's the thing: 3 Count was actually, in my opinion, one of the more brilliant ideas of that era of WCW, because boy bands were hot at that time. Lots of guys couldn't stand boy bands. Okay, boy bands got shit on as much as they did applauded. Okay, so what better than taking 3 pretty boys and making them a heel tag team? And there you go. And yeah, it was actually kind of a cool idea, because it'd be something for fans to jump off of.
It led to a hell of a series of matches with them and the Young Dragons.
Exactly. Yeah.
True.
The WCW Cruiserweight tag teams were still pretty damn good at that point, and you got a lot of fun stuff out of it. Who was that? It was Shannon Moore,
Shane Helms,
and Evan Courageous.
yeah. So, and Tank Abbott became their big fanboy.
Fanboy, which was great.
Yeah.
All the shitty interviews. 3 Count's the greatest rock and roll band of all time, man.
Yep.
Poor Tank couldn't even try. Tank couldn't even make an effort to do.
No. When you pull a knife on your opponent, yeah, that's not good. What the hell are you doing? I need a gimmick. It's my gimmick. Your gimmick's a knife?
Did he do that on his own?
Yeah.
He didn't get clearance from anybody?
Nope,
Wow.
he just did it.
Vince would have fired his ass right away.
Yeah. God.
Vince would have fucking sent him out the door.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gorilla and Strongbow, be waiting for him at Gorilla. Come with us. Come with us. You gotta go. You gotta
Come here.
Yeah.
Come here.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And that's the difference. That's why WWF is in business longer than all these promotions, because Vince wouldn't let shit like that slip.
No. It was one guy calling the shots. With WCW, it was a committee of people. And then with ECW, it was Paul, but then Paul's missing, so everyone's looking to Dreamer for guidance and some kind of answer, you know? And Tommy's not the owner of the company. He's just like trying to carry this company on his back. Case in point, this pay-per-view. And as you said, it's a hot mess because there's so much going on. Plus, it's way outside ECW territory. Yeah. It's on the complete other side of the country. They don't have a strong presence there. So the fact they drew 5,700 people, whatever the number was really good for that time. But everyone's jet lagged when they go over there. Joey puts that over in the commentary between the Scotty Anton Rob Van Dam match, because Rob Van Dam was living in LA at the time. So he got to sleep in his own bed last night. He's fresh. He's relaxed. He's not jet lagged. He didn't have to sleep in a bad hotel the night before, because all of them had to do that. So.
But yeah,
I wonder how Dreamer would have reacted if that happened. Though. Like someone go to Dreamer, like, yeah, Tank just pulled a knife on the guy. Tommy would go.
Actually, if ECW, the locker room would have emptied on him. They would have. What the fuck?
Locker room would have emptied out. Tommy would still be backstage. I don't know, man. He'd be like, I don't know. Do what you want. He'd be like, do what you want. I'm tired.
Exactly. Give me a coffee. Give me a coffee.
Balls take care of that. Son of a bitch! Yep.
Oh,
I've seen balls fired up. It's scary and comedic at the same time.
Oh yeah. John was the type of guy, like he's like, if he's your friend, he's your friend for life. He'll take care of you and be there for you. But it was like such a fine line. You said one wrong word and he's gonna kill you.
Quick comment from James, where our pro wrestling said that Lance Storm by this pay-per-view was near the start of his triple champion run in WCW. Yeah, because you, James, I watched your latest From the Vault about Bash at the Beach 2000, and you brought that up. Yeah, I do remember that, because I have the Best of Nitro DVD, and I saw in like one of the 2000 episodes that he had the US title, the hardcore title, and the TV title at the same time. Good Lord. All he needed was a tag and both titles.
Consecutive weeks.
Was that TV or Cruiserweight? I can't remember.
I don't think he was Cruiserweight champion.
TV, hardcore, no, US hardcore.
I thought it was Cruiserweight title.
I thought it was a TV title.
I could be wrong. I'm sorry.
He won the hardcore title from Vito. He won the US. I think he won the US title. I can't remember who he took that off of. I think it might have been Bill DeMott. I think there was a tag. I think there was a tag team. I think he won tag belts with Elix. I could be wrong, but
I don't remember. Jeez, I could ask my wife. She would know it probably.
I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, Michelle would know definitely. I'll look it up.
Ricky Horror Master, what's up, buddy? If you can bring one Mexican wrestler to WWE and make him or her the next big star, who would it be?
Those Mascaras.
Okay, so James said Cruiserweight. Okay, I thought he had the TV title for some reason.
There you go. Okay.
But he called it the 100K and under title.
It was the Cruiserweight title. You're right, Scott.
Okay, cool. I'm just wondering about that. So Mexican star, male or female?
Current guy? Current Mexican star?
Yeah, Ricky, are you meaning current?
I don't even know.
I would say I would think current.
I'm not counting Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
The only guy I can think of is Pentagon Jr.
In Phoenix. Lucha Brothers. Those are
Bring
the
the
guys I
Lucha
can think of
Brothers
right
on,
now.
yeah.
I don't really follow it that much anymore. They had the biggest star in Mexico in recent years with Sin Cara. That was Mysterioso. He was huge.
Yeah,
He was huge over there.
but he just didn't want to work.
Yeah. Oh, Ricky changed it in general, like of all time. If you
In
could have
general.
brought, okay.
Oh.
Lord.
It's still hard to say.
That's tough.
Because they had them all. They had Conan for a very brief time as Max Moon.
Right.
Pero Aguayo was way too old.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
And they had Hector Garza for one night as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, okay. What about Los Gringos Locos?
Eddie and Art. Sure.
Eddie and Art as a tag team at that time frame.
Imagine them coming in and fucking with the Hart Foundation.
Hart Foundation, the Rockers.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Eddie and Art against Marty and Sean opening like WrestleMania 7 or something like that.
yeah,
Phenomenal.
something like that. Yeah, something like that maybe.
What was so crazy was the internet fans, they loved Art more than they loved Eddie.
True.
They were big Art. They were Eddie and Art were supposed to come to ECW together.
And then Art died.
Art died.
While Eddie was in Japan, I think it was.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he was doing Black Tiger at the time.
Yep.
James commented, Tank Abbott versus New Jack in a knife match. Oh, God.
I wouldn't want to book that one. Jesus.
Always been curious about New Jack and WWE, what that would have been like.
He wouldn't have lasted a week, I don't think.
He had that tryout that one time. He did have that tryout, and it went nowhere, and they didn't do anything with him. So,
yeah, well, New Jack has his own way of doing stuff. He wasn't a traditional wrestler, and he would be the first person to tell you that he wasn't a traditional wrestler.
Yeah, he was a draw type thing. I mentioned earlier with the entrance of New Jack and Sandman. That was the drawing thing for those guys. It didn't matter about that.
Well, the thing with New Jack, they kept going until the match was over.
Right. It's his match, it's his time. So
yeah.
Ricky said La Parka, they never had him in WWE or WWF, only in WCW.
Maybe the feud with the Undertaker. At one point,
he was looked more as a comedy act, unfortunately.
Mid '90s is where La Parka kind of was in that cruiserweight thing, and mid '90s in WWF wasn't that good.
Yeah,
so,
there were several La Parkas as well.
Yeah, there were. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say who would have been paired up well with him. I mean, La Parka and Jeff Jarrett would not have worked. La Parka and Sean, maybe. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
I'm still going with Phoenix and Pentagon. I think Pentagon and like Bray Wyatt would have been a pretty fun thing to watch.
Pentagon and Seth Rollins when Seth was babyface. Yeah, that would have been a strong program. And then bring Phoenix in too, and then have the two of them feud with like the New Day or the Bar when they were teamed up, or the Usos and the fucking Lucha Brothers. Come on,
it's fucking great. See, that's why I'm kind of I'm still sour grapes over over the formation of AEW, because all those dream matches that we still could have had if some of those guys actually came over to WWE. We'd still, I mean, I'm sorry. Call me, bitter, but I would have loved to have seen Kenny Omega against AJ Styles at WrestleMania over watching Kenny wrestle his buddies over and over again, and watching him wrestle Jericho again.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Levi's trying to fix something.
I saw a question come up from Russell and Jen. How about Vito in a dress? Oh, God. You know what's painful about that?
It was meant to be a rib, and Vito ran with it. I give him all the credit in the world.
Yeah, Saturn did it. Saturn did that shit
with Moppy, which ironically was the most famous thing he ever did in WWE.
Well, before that, when Saturn was in Raven's Flock, he wore the dress. He was doing the goth dress thing, and all that. And it was the best thing. He'd have the makeup on, the dress, and he'd come in the curtain. He'd come through the curtain, look at the camera, go, "What are you looking at?"
I was gonna say the painful thing about remembering the Vito in a dress thing. late 2006 through 2007, I used to buy the WWE Heritage Topps Chrome cards. One of them was Vito in a dress. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
So
Vito was originally supposed to be a Dudley boy. He was supposed to get Bubba's spot. And, Vito's weird. So, because he was Skull Von Crush at the time. That was his wrestling name. And didn't work out, didn't show up that night or whatever. And then Bubba got the spot, and boom, we had the Dudley boys.
And then Ricky says, screw it. La Secta del Messias versus the Ministry of Darkness.
Okay. Now, Ricky, you got to help me out. Who's La Secta del Messias? I don't know who that is. So
I know he's talked about it a few times, and I always forget.
Yeah.
The Secta de Messias. I think I know who that is.
It's obviously a faction of some kind, but I just don't know who's in it. So.
Oh, Secta. No, hold on.
Oh, good lord.
Actually, I just thought of it as Walter does that. I'm going to cheat hardcore. Mexican star to bring to the WWF and make him a top guy, Vampiro.
Yeah.
Because he was a Mexican star. He was a Mexican wrestling star.
Yep.
I'm cheating hardcore there, but it's there.
Yeah. Oh, good lord. But while we wait to figure all this out,
It was a like a religious cult gimmick in AAA. Ricky Banderas was part of that. I think Ricky Banderas is what was his name? The big, muscular, scary-looking guy.
Oh,
I think it was
El Messias.
El Messias. Yeah, and he was also in. He was Lucha Underground. He was Mil Muerte or whatever his name was.
And he was in TNA for a short time as Judas Messias.
As Judas Messias. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Which I actually won't forget his TNA debut when he came out from under the ring during the Kurt Angle Abyss 6 Sides of Steel match. Seeing him for the first time with the all wide eyes and the blood spit.
Yes.
And then choking him out with the barbed wire chain. That was a great visual. Kurt Angle looking freaked out like, get me the fuck out of here. I don't want to be in this ring with this guy.
It was great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ricky just confirmed it.
Too bad that the Judas Messias character didn't last, and also Ricky kept getting fucking hurt. Like, within like a couple weeks of being in TNA, he gets hurt before he was supposed to have been in a Monsters Ball match with, I believe it was supposed to have been him, Abyss, Rhino, and Black Rain, and they end up replacing him with Raven.
Boy, Black Rain. There's a name.
Yeah. Which I won't lie, Black Rain was a cool character for Dustin Rhodes to do, basically a gothic evil Goldust.
Mm-hmm.
But
Dustin was going through way too many demons in that time of his career as well.
That is true.
Yeah, he looked terrible during that time.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, but the good best thing I saw him do during that time, he did have a pretty damn good Shop of Horrors match against Abyss at Genesis 2007 to kick off the show. That was a fun match.
I remember that. But then there was also his didn't he work with James Storm and it was a mess? It was Chris Harris.
No, Chris Harris, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was when the Black Rain character began.
Yeah, and that was a mess. That's why he couldn't get over.
Yeah.
But Dustin's past that now, and he's looking great, and he's doing great.
Yeah.
Russell just mentioned another bad character, Paul Burchill as the pirate.
I love Paul Burchill, the pirate. I don't care what anyone says.
It was getting over. He was
getting over because his entrance was epic and his finisher was amazing.
It was the Spanish Fly.
Standing Spanish Fly. That, like, what the fuck? I love that character. I think he could have got a good mid-card title reign out of it if pushed right, but
I preferred Katie Lee Burchill myself.
Well, I was gonna say, didn't he start off as just as Paul Burchill, and he was like one of
one of Regal's guys, and then
and then he became the pirate, and then he went to being
the incest guy with Katie Lee.
Well, they brought Katarina Winter,
yeah,
smoking hot. Brought her in to be his sister, and then there was the possible incestuous relationship between the two of them.
Because Vince McMahon has been dying to do incest angles since he pitched the idea of him being the kayfabe father of Stephanie's baby in 2006. And then Steph's like, no, you are not going to be the father of my unborn baby. How about Shane? And Adam Blumpy says, why must you be so mad all the time, Vince?
And those were the good old days, apparently.
I guess.
And he kept wanting to do it so bad, so he tried to do it with Paul and Katie Lee, and just what the fuck?
Okay, Google, why is wrestling so fucking screwed up?
My apologies, I don't understand.
Neither do I.
Neither do we.
Yeah. James said, imagine the Black Rain character had Dustin been in a good place in his life. It would have been better, for sure.
Would have been great. I think it would have done that
character. He would have been still in WWF.
True. That too.
That is true. Or what if Dustin could have done like what Bray Wyatt's doing now and doing funny enough, the three faces of Wyatt. The Swamp character, the Cold Leader Swamp character, The Fiend, and Firefly Funhouse. I think Dustin could pull that off. Goldust, Black Rain, and himself.
Right. The Natural. They call him the Natural.
I think he could have pulled it off if he was in a good place and was in better shape at that time.
They call him the Natural. He's a son of a gun. Natural one.
Tyler Rex, I felt he had potential, and yeah, his finisher was an insult to Japanese wrestling by calling it the Burning Hammer, even though it was just basically an inverted AA, but still cool finisher for him, but yeah, he just didn't quite click.
Well, that was the thing.
James says...
There's only one Burning Hammer, and that was Kobashi. And Kobashi did
exactly.
He did it like 5 times.
That's
his entire career.
Yeah, because it's such a devastating move that you don't want to take. Otherwise, if you take it wrong, you're done.
Also, not to mention, it kind of took away its mystique. You know, it's like kind of like Kurt Angle belting out that moonsault every once in a while.
Because there was only like, as you said, he only did it a handful of times, but there's also like a couple of variations of it. So, that other wrestlers would start to do. There's like the arm trap, Burning Hammer, and top rope Burning Hammer, and oh my god, ridiculous.
Yeah. Kobashi had a career longer than most of those guys, but he still had a rough fucking.
Made a lot more money too. Drew a lot more people.
Oh, he did. He did.
Yeah. James said Vince did grow up in the South in a trailer, so
it's true.
That is true.
Very true.
Ricky asks, what if Dustin would do the 7 gimmick?
Oh, God.
I mean, that entrance is cool. The entrance is cool with him floating to the ring. But then whenever he debuted with that character, he immediately just buries it to the ground. Because he's like, fuck this.
All right, screw this. My name is 7, by the way.
And they made me dress up like Uncle Fester.
Uh-huh. I'm spying on children.
That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Like, he goes all in with the entrance, floating to the ring, but as soon as he's in the ring, I'm gonna bury this character. I'm not doing it anymore.
No. Mm-hmm. Russo, fuck you.
Yeah. Fuck you, Russo. I'm done. I'm not putting up with this.
Hornswoggle is Vince's son. That's what Russell says.
I guess he's still trying to think of bad characters.
Bad gimmicks, bad characters. I mean,
that was bad.
Yeah.
And it's still amazing how it was going to be Mr. Kennedy, and it would have been the start of something good for him. Injuries and suspensions, what put the kibosh to that.
Yep.
And that's just the unlucky nature of the business,
Mr. Kennedy was the Ahmed Johnson of his time, and I mean that because of injury.
Injuries, and then also a suspension derailed him. And then his career in WWE gets cut short because Randy Orton's a whiny crybaby. Mm-hmm. To be fair, though, with the shoulders issues he's had, I could get it to an extent. Being upset that you kept getting dropped hard on your bad shoulder that you've been getting hurt with so many times. But no reason to flip out backstage and get the guy fired. Like, come on.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I can't stand Randy Orton sometimes. That And especially in recent years, he just looks so bored in the ring whenever he's in a match that he doesn't care about. And it's like, Adam Blampier said best in his video back when he used to work for What Culture and WCPW back then. When he did the video of like the 8 bad in-ring habits Orton needs to change, I agree. He has a terminal case of bored face in the ring nowadays. Unless you get him in somebody that he actually would love to work with, like Edge. Like, he seemed to be okay working with Edge, or AJ, or Jeff Hardy, but put him with Bray Wyatt, he ain't gonna give a shit. It's like, come on, Randy, put some effort into what you do, for God's sake.
And that's Randy being Randy, and
yeah,
he's just always had that attitude. I mean, yeah, he's hell of a worker, just top-notch talent, but he makes it way too obvious when he's not into it.
Yeah. And on top of that, having the tendency to be a fucking asshole. At least back then. Maybe there's still some of that nowadays, but not as... I don't hear it as much of him backstage nowadays, but like...
Once he
10 years ago on back, good lord.
Yeah, once he found his wife and they had kids, he kind of sobered up, if you will, and kind of got his head out of his ass and realized, oh yeah, I've been an immature dick for too long. I need to stop that.
Right.
So and many of the guys say that when he focuses and he's given something he can sink his teeth into,
it's hard to deny, no doubt about it. Yeah,
you're not going to find anybody better. He just unfortunately doesn't give a shit too many times.
Right. Ricky says, not as bad as Natalya having that farting gimmick. Fuck you, Kevin Dunn. That's all I gotta say. Then again, I don't like Natalya, but for Christ's sake,
Vince.
How does someone get over with that?
Vince loves toilet humor. That's why. Anytime there's going to be an outhouse, or you douse people in shit, or farting, or boogers, or whatever.
Yeah.
I am sick to death of boogers and bathroom humor. The Joey Styles promo. That's what Vince likes. He's a 12-year-old in a 70-year-old man's body.
Yeah.
So
needless to say,
gets over with him, and that's why you see it.
Oh, good lord. Jesse and Festus. That biscuits and gravy
made me a man. Oh, biscuits and gravy.
Ding. Thank God Luke Gallows got away from that character, because that was not going to help him at all.
Nope.
Holy shit.
Was he Kane in the mask before that or after that?
Before Festus, yeah.
Before Festus, it was the Kane thing first, then
Festus, and then the Luke Gallows.
Then disappears, then gets over in Japan, and then Luke Gallows. Yeah. Then he bangs.
It's kind of funny. The fake Kane gimmick just, I don't know, they did it once and then they never did it again.
It was to promote the movie.
See No Evil. And it's interesting. The rumors of the reason why they did that was because supposedly Glenn Jacobs was contemplating retirement at that time.
I think so.
And they wanted to, quote, reboot the character. But then when they realized, for one, this is terrible, and two, it wasn't helping matters at all, so Glenn's like, you know what, I'll keep going. Let's just stop this. Thank God they stopped it when they did. Oh. Yeah, I remember vividly that shit. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that was like the modern day equivalent to Undertaker versus Undertaker, but somehow worse.
If that's even possible. They made it happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
They managed to pull it off.
Yeah, it's like, how can we top Undertaker versus Undertaker? I know. Let's get Kane versus Kane. Gives me the creeps.
Creeper.
But, yeah. Hey, we gotta sell See No Evil somehow, right? Mm-hmm. May 19th. Oh, God, Kane's gonna kill me. He's gonna rip my eyeballs out.
First one sucks, second one's better. Soska Sisters did the second one, so it's way better visually. And plus, it's got Danielle Harris in it.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's still crazy to think she was in Halloween 4 and 5.
I know it's It's really weird to see her as a young girl in Halloween 4, and then fast forward to the Halloween reboots. I think it is that she's in, and she's a young lady getting down. It's like, wow.
Showing her tatas to the world. And,
Ta-ta!
Ta-ta!
Ta-ta.
And then the only, oh god, and yeah, I forgot, Jesse from Jesse Fesses became Slam Master fucking J, the rapper, basically trying to be like Thugonomics Cena and failing. What was it with 2008 and 2009 where they changed a lot of established characters like Kung Fu Naki? What?
Yeah.
Jimmy Wang. Don't forget that one.
Jimmy Wang Yang and making Shannon Moore his lackey wearing a cowboy hat where he's not even, I don't even know if he's a country guy, but he's a punk guy, but still, like, what the fuck? And I remember when Miz and Morrison did the fucking Dirt Sheet show, which I wish they would bring that back as a WWE Network exclusive show. That would be funny as hell. When they made fun of Shannon Moore constantly. The guys they targeted the most were Shannon Moore, Festus, Finley, and Evan Bourne. Good lord. Like, Festus, you're the biggest, fattest, baldest version. and talking like, I'm Evan Bourne. I suck. Didn't you lose to Chris Jericho? Didn't you lose your mom to Evan Bourne's dad? Oh, Lord. They were funny. I missed the Dirt Sheet. It was good stuff. Or whenever they did the rap video against Crime Time, that was awesome. During their feud. But, yeah. Oh, I honestly did not know that Jesse is Terry Gordy's son. I did not know that.
Ray Gordy. Yeah, Ray Gordy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when the Freebirds, when the Freebirds were inducted, they brought Ray Gordy on stage. They brought Buddy Roberts' son up there. So yeah, they had the whole family involved. Thankfully.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were. I think they were Deep South guys. I think they were coming up in that territory, which we know the history of Deep South didn't last long.
Yeah, kind of like Memphis,
right?
Well, that was when they had Bill DeMott running. Bill DeMott was running amok over there, from what I gather.
Yep.
When doesn't Bill DeMott run amok in anything? Fucking dumbass. It's funny, speaking of Bill DeMott and his shenanigans, it's back to Adam Blumpy. I remembered one of the last videos he did for What Culture back in 2017 was like the 10 things WWE like you to forget about NXT, and number 1 was everything about Bill DeMott, and he goes through like almost like an infomercial ad of like all the shit he did, and then at the very end he's like, well, Bill denied all charges, but goddamn, be a star.
Yeah.
You're the biggest bully I know, Vince.
Quote CM Punk.
Ricky says, I hope the Dark Side of the Ring do an episode on the plane ride from hell. I need to hear more stories about that, because there's so many random stories about the plane ride from hell, like Hennig and Lesnar getting into it and all this and that and blah blah blah. Like
Allman cutting Michael Hayes' ponytail off or wanting to.
Yeah.
Vince and Kurt Angle fighting, Undertaker coming to and choking Kurt out.
Which that was probably the best thing about it, and especially watching the I don't think it was the same plane ride, but in Matt Hardy told the story on an episode of Storytime. I missed that show, and it's sad we'll never get it because Gene Okerlund's no longer with us. But like when Matt Hardy tells that story in the animation of Vince going up hey Matt, I want you to lower Kurt back in the back of the plane for me because I want to take him down. I'm gonna get my hands on you, Angle. He tries to go in, but nope, you're not going to take Kurt Angle down no matter who you are. Damn it, Hardy, you messed it all up. Am I still getting that bonus? Ah!
You won't see a Dark Side of the Ring because nobody died.
That's true.
Nobody died. Nobody really got hurt. It's just a bunch of wrestlers drunk off their ass, blowing off steam.
Either having fun or having problems. Yeah.
You should see a bunch of wrestlers in the bar after a show or at a restaurant after the show. Oh, my God.
Dark Side of the Ring episode we need is Art Barr.
Ooh.
There was a lot going on with Art Barr. Unfortunately, Art Barr was not really that good of a person.
No, he was not.
No.
And the girl he got messed up with, you gotta check that ID, brother.
He didn't go to Mexico to expand his horizons. He went to Mexico for to get out of the public.
Other reasons, yeah. And it was amazing to see him start in Portland as just Art Barr, and then Roddy Piper does the whole angle with him on their television, making him into Beetlejuice, and he gets signed to WCW. Can't use Beetlejuice because it's copyrighted, so he's the Juicer.
The Juicer.
And he winds up doing goofy shit with Norman, the lunatic, and then he goes to Mexico, and it just He stayed there for a while. Yeah, just becomes a totally different dude. Creates one of the best heel tag teams with Eddie of all time.
It was a stable, actually. It was a stable.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
And
he was ready to go back. He was going to go to ECW.
Yep. They were going to come in and have a whole run there. And what did he die of? Was it a heart attack or
heart attack? It was just like how Eddie died, pretty much.
Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. Russell and Jen ask, anyone like Lillian Garcia? I think she's hot. Hell yeah. Although, one problem. 2 words.
Big Bush.
Damn it, you stole my thunder.
I'm sorry.
You took you.
Our only confirmation for that is X-Pac.
Yeah, and so I don't really take a lot of what Sean says to heart.
At least at that time, yeah.
And even if she did, I don't care.
Who cares?
I have a personal preference when it comes to that particular spot, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. As soon as I saw Lillian, I feel like that's now tainted in my mind. Now when I think of Lillian Garcia, I think of Big Bush now. Good Lord. I wonder how she felt watching that interview. I bet she was laughing her ass off. Like, really, motherfucker, you say that?
Really? Somebody told her. I doubt she actually saw it.
Probably,
hey,
probably.
Didn't Sean told you about it? What? Oh, he said you have a big bush.
That might be.
You mean like outside my house in the yard? No.
Oh, good Lord, man. But but yeah, she is hot. Even though she's like now in her mid-50s, she still looks good.
Give a shit. Dude.
There are some women out there that seems like the older they get, the sexier
Helen
they get.
Mirren.
Sandra Bullock.
Was she 75?
Yep. Something like that. Yeah.
Even Meryl Streep still looks good too.
Yes.
She's in her 70s, I think.
Meryl Streep. Trish Stratus still looks hot.
Yeah. Sandra Bullock still looks hot. And the actress who plays Olivia Benson on Law and Order SVU, she still looks hot too.
Mariska Hargitay. Yes.
Yeah, it's always hard for me to try to pronounce her last name, but
yeah.
Her mother is Jane Mansfield, so there you go. Yep.
And her husband's on the show usually playing a lawyer.
Yeah,
yep.
Which is still crazy of a thing, but yeah, I guess if nobody else has got Tori Wilson just turned 45 and still looks good. Yeah, that's true.
That's fine, but
sure.
Yeah.
45 is the new 35, so.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. And then 32 is the new 22. Because Vilringer's 32 and she gets hotter every fucking year. And again, No need to wear crazy makeup, just the very little on the eyes or none at all. And she looks so fucking good. But anyways, what stories do you want? Ricky asks, what stories do you want the Dark Side of the Ring to do? I want them to do an episode on the steroid trial. That would be a good one.
Probably do that one.
They'd have to reach out to Vince for a lot of information on that.
Yeah, and I don't think he would do that.
They're gonna get superstar Billy Graham, and we don't want to hear him talk.
No.
Fuck Billy Graham.
Yeah, I would want to hear, well, the Art Bar one, we mentioned that one. That would be a good one.
I had a whole bunch of them. Hold on, let me see. I had them. I posted them on Facebook. Give me 1 second here. Let me see if I can find it. Carry amongst yourselves.
Yep. I mean, they did Bruiser. They've done Gino. They did the Von Erichs.
They did Owen.
Did Owen. Maybe the
Did they do one?
Boy,
did they do one on
scandal?
Snuka?
The Ring Boy scandal of the early '90s.
Yeah,
they could have done that one.
Have they done one on Snuka? I think they did, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they did Snuka.
I had a post where I actually gave a whole bunch where I said that there's plenty there for another third season. I'm trying to remember what I put down though. The New Japan scandal with Kensuke Sasaki killing that student.
Ooh, yeah.
Driving Hase to quit the company.
Yep.
He went to New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
All Japan, excuse me.
Yep, that's definitely one. They did New Jack. They did the mass transit thing. They talked about that.
Hold on, I think I found it. Okay, here we go. The New Japan incident, the Hiromitsu Ganpei murder scandal, Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer, Eddie Gilbert, Onita and FMW.
There you're talking.
Plane Ride. Yep, Plane Ride from Hell and Brian Pillman.
Yeah, Pillman one, yeah.
Yep, that makes sense.
Steroid trial, Jake Roberts.
Yeah, Jake.
Dynamite Kid.
Dynamite Kid.
Davey Boy, maybe?
No, not as significant.
Vince Russo.
No, please no. God, no. He doesn't need any more publicity.
It'll just be Cornette running him down.
Yeah.
Oh, how about this? How about all the people getting the big scandal earlier this year? That can get one.
Yeah,
where everybody got called out.
Yeah, everybody got called out. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, we know people that called out personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do.
Probably never going to talk to him again, but
no.
You know what's really fun? I even said to somebody earlier, I said, you know what? With all this shit going on, I said something about how if WWE closed down, all right, wrestling is going to go into the dark ages. And someone said, you make that sound like it's a bad thing. And I said, well, with all the shit that went on a few months ago, I probably wouldn't be that sad if it went to that.
Yeah.
Because we knew people that were described as amazing human beings and wholesome, and it represented everything good about the business. And no, the total opposite. I'm going to say this. I really hope that if there's anything good that came out of that, what just went down, that is the end of the wrestling is for everyone era, because it's not.
No,
look what happened when we let wrestling be for everyone.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Wrestling. Yeah, I don't want to.
It's not
for everyone. Yeah.
So,
for the last year or two,
folks, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't have the stomach, you don't have the nerves, you don't have the intestinal fortitude, you don't have the mentality to be in this business, you shouldn't fucking be in it. Okay?
Yep.
It's as simple as that.
Yep.
If you're going to be a whiny ass bitch about stuff, get the fuck out. Wrestling doesn't want you. You will not get far.
Yeah, and that's what you get for making wrestling for everyone. We brought in a bunch of predators.
Yep.
So
see what happens.
This one's on you, wrestling.
Yep. Hope you're happy with yourself. One other Dark Side of the Ring, Travel Lodge. Know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
ECW, the Travel Lodge all the boys stayed at in Philadelphia. There are countless stories.
New Jack
that
always brings
all
that. New
come
Jack
from
always brings that up.
All come from that hotel. And you hear it in every shoot interview from any ECW guy. New Jack, Carino, Francine, Raven. Oh my God, Raven. Tons of stories about that Travel Lodge.
Danny Doring.
Yeah, Danny Doring. You want to find stuff. You want to find some sick fucking stories. The Travel Lodge is where you got to find it. I don't even know if that thing's there anymore. So
Ricky brought up another episode idea. An episode on the last days of China.
She was out of the wrestling business at that point, so
Yeah.
maybe, but yeah, I don't
Or
think
an
it would be
episode
that.
on China in general.
Yeah, on China in general, maybe. She died same day as who? Prince.
Prince and Doris Roberts from Everyone Loves Raymond.
Yep. So her death kind of got squashed. So yeah, that's some of the things that came up to me.
Yeah, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
There's stuff from Puerto Rico besides Bruiser. You know, you could talk about just Carlos Colon pretty much trapping people in the country so they can't leave by not paying them.
I don't know if this would be a significant enough story to do an episode, but Vader being trapped in Kuwait.
Yeah, they've kind of covered that.
Yeah,
it's kind of covered, so,
that kind of came and went. That was like the only trouble, like the only problem like Leon ever committed in the business. So
yeah.
And they got him out relatively soon. I mean, he wasn't there forever.
Yeah.
It
was just such a bizarre thing.
He just stayed in his hotel when he was in his hotel the whole time.
Yeah, that was about it. He didn't go to jail. He didn't lose any fingers. He didn't.
He just couldn't leave the hotel. He went in the He was allowed in the lobby and all that.
Right.
So
about that.
He says he stayed in the hotel and made friends with the hotel staff.
Yep. But that Onita one you mentioned, that would be a good one.
Onita deserves an episode because that is some wild, crazy shit there, which also was kind of like the blueprints for things like ECW in years to come.
Yeah, because Onita was a guy that he was a student of Terry Funk's and learned about like really how to get over. And
here's the thing. He was also a All Japan. He was a student of Baba. He was a student of Baba. He was an All Japan. He was the top of their junior heavyweight division. His knees went to shit, and they wouldn't let him back. So he had to do his own thing, and that's where that Terry Funk education came in.
And he meets up with Terry, and Terry kind of takes him under his wing, teaches him about how to really get over. And Onita creates FMW, which spawns stars like Hayabusa, Mike Awesome, Matsunaga, other great talents like that, Tarzan Goto. And Onita starts doing these crazy hardcore death matches, the barbed wire exploding cage, electrified cage stuff. And
Onita was the opposite of Tommy Dreamer, though. Onita always had to win and have the double.
Yes, he did. Because he was the boss. He was the boss of FMW. And he would do things. I just saw this again on YouTube. I totally forgot about it. He would do insulting things. He did the Great Nita, which was his parody of the Great Muta.
Yep.
And which led to a death match between the two of them. The Great Nita against the Great Muta.
In New Japan.
Yes.
Yep.
So Onita got himself over to where he got a spot on a New Japan show by parodying one of the top legends of the sport.
He also wrestled Chono and Choshu beforehand. So yeah, he was getting himself over and working that way to that Muta match.
And unfortunately, he's more infamous for trying to reenact the Bruiser Brody stabbing.
No, you're right. I forgot.
Yeah, he tried to do that, where he was victimized and stabbed.
Yep.
That's a fall from grace right there. Eventually, though, I think he went to work in politics. I want to say he got elected or something, or was tried to.
He tried to. He's still doing crazy, stupid shit.
Yeah, he is. He's not. It's a fall from grace, unfortunately. I saw him in a Botchamania recently that I did a reaction to on my channel, and man, it's sad.
Yep.
It really is.
Well,
back in the day, man. Oof. He was up there. He was one of the top guys.
He was.
Well, I think on that note, I think we'll call the show right there. So we went about 2 hours, so pretty good episode. Well, that's all for the July month episodes. Oh, we're gonna go full gear for the next 5 weeks.
SummerSlam!
It's SummerSlam month, and here's the rundown of what's to come. Next week is SummerSlam month's first episode we're doing. We're going to be talking SummerSlam 1991, home of a match made in heaven and a match made in hell, one of the greatest Intercontinental title matches of all time, an underrated gem, and one of the funniest things in the history of WWF television happened on this night. Next episode, whether it be on the 8th, or my birthday the 8th, or on the day after, depending on what's going on with my work that day, if I'm going to be there all day and all night for the car show, if it happens. But we're going to be doing SummerSlam 1993 with special guest We Are Pro Wrestling joining us.
Cool.
The night of one of the most infamous endings to a pay-per-view, one of the biggest in-ring disappointments of all time, and I know, James, you're going to talk in depth about that. Following that will be SummerSlam 1998, once again from MSG. Hot crowd, hot programs.
I was there.
And one of the greatest ladder matches of all time. After that, we get SummerSlam 1995, where the company was in a terrible place, and on this night, the only things you had of note were an amazing rematch to an all-time classic a year and a half prior, an infamous main event, and a very bizarre upset. And then last but certainly not least, in the final week of August, we're going to be covering SummerSlam 2002, where arguably the greatest SummerSlam of all time, since there was no bad match. Every match was good to fantastic. Peak of the original brand split, the return of a legend, and the crowning of a new champion. Dominant champion. So yes, that is the month of August for you. It's SummerSlam month, 91, 93, 98, 95, and 2002. And people wonder, why 98 to 95? Well, how we're doing is we're going to do a good show, bad show, good show, bad show, good show. That's basically just kind of balance things out, so to speak.
Is it bad we're bringing James on a bad night?
I don't know. It's what he wanted. He wanted to
cool.
do that, so it was his choice.
I don't want to do that to you, James, but if you're up for it, all right, we're
because I know there's one match in particular on that card I know he probably will talk in depth about. And the wrestlers' names, they rhyme with Pawn Jikels and Sister Gerfict.
Nice.
So there you go. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week for SummerSlam 91. That's going to be fun.
Subscribe. Hit that
Don't
subscribe
forget to
button.
subscribe. And also, plug time. You can go subscribe to me, ThrashManiac99. And, now we get the other big reason why James wants 93, because it was in Michigan, his home state. So I guess that makes sense. But anyways, OHIO. I had to rub it into you, buddy. But anyways, you can subscribe to me, ThrashManiac99. Follow me on Twitter, even though it's essentially dead. You can follow me on Twitch, ThrashManiac99, even though that's dead. And I keep forgetting to do a test of how I can get to stream on both YouTube and Twitch at the same time. I need to remind myself to do a test for that at some point. But you can go follow me on Twitter, Twitch, and subscribe to ThrashManiac99. Scott?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Mr. Scott Reacts, where I do reaction videos to all kinds of cool stuff. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. Scott Reacts as well. And you find me and my bro Walt here, along with our other buddies, Tommy Clark, Dan Roberts, and Skip Novak, on the Necrocasticon Horror and Metal podcast, where we talk horror and metal. It's on the Project Entertainment Network, and we come at you every Monday, because Monday is Necro Day. Walter?
You can find me on the Twitter at YourWaltBall, and you can find me on Instagram at smokin_Walt_ball.
And then before we go, I just have one question to ask Raven and Sandman here. What are you guys doing tonight, jackasses?
Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you retired?
I honestly don't know. I just like hurting myself in the ring. What can I tell you? Jackass.
I gotta say, yeah, Terry Funk is the drizzling shit. He's a terrible worker, very underrated, or very overrated. I'm kidding. Terry Funk is one of the greatest of all time.
Scotty, we got a chess game going here. Come on, your queen's being threatened here. Come on.
I feel like going upstairs. I feel like going upstairs and watching Good Times. Remember that show, Good Times?
We gotta play chess. We gotta do this right now. Last time we went to the Waffle House. I cannot beat him at a Waffle House. It pissed me off. We were playing. I had my knight to my rook, and it was threatening his queen. And I had him won. I had him won completely. And he said, "Who's the guy?" Hulk Hogan. He said Hulk Hogan was over there. I turned my head. He flipped the damn board.
Waffle House. It gets me sick to my stomach. I don't ever want to see another Waffle House again. I'm kidding. Waffle House is all right.
You're damn right, Waffle House, all right. And James, why the hell are you mumbling all over the place, jackass?
Yo.
It's a terrible Terry Funk impression. I'm just kidding. It's one of the best ever. Nah, actually, it kind of sucks.
Wow.
Hey, you remember who made you, jackass?
No, it's not bad. It's all right.
Okay, anyway. I just can't
Better at Funk.
I
He is
just
better at that.
I just can't get over it.
I have tried to teach that boy how to do a proper Terry Funk, and he is getting closer to the way you gotta do it. Jackass.
You're damn right, jackass.
I got to get on board with the Raven podcast because he's still going on about that movie idea he has about the duck that shits Percocets. He's still going on about it. Like 3 weeks in, they're still talking about it.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up this episode. Horns high, and we'll see you next week. What the fuck am I doing to my life?